Thank you again, and now let's begin with our question and answer session. We have the first participant from Comisión Federal de Electricidad, CFE, Subdirección de Generación, Monterrey, Nuevo León, Mexico. The question is, you mentioned that over 70% of workers in developed economies are information or knowledge workers. Is there an estimate for developing and emerging countries today?
The exact numbers are hard to ascertain due to the rapid growth and the continuous evolution of the economies in the developing countries. Suffice it to say that you can feel confident that the number of workers in the emerging economies who are considered knowledge workers are indeed growing exponentially and will continue to do so, as has been indicated in research conducted by others who have studied the path to economic success for the countries that are oftentimes referred to as the bottom of the pyramid, or POM countries.
Great, thank you. Our next participant is from BF de Almeida and Associates in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And the question is, in developing and managing strategic networks of collaboration at a global level, do you think organizations should involve only their top leaders, or should they establish open policies for their personnel to pursue them at all levels?
Excellent question. All stakeholders, especially those who are active employees of an organization, must have some level of ownership of the processes we've discussed. As a matter of fact, many of the traditional methodologies utilized to promote quality and synchronization within an organization pride themselves on being models of inclusion. In this era, it's not only the customers external to the companies that must be the central focus of the leadership's attention, but it is also the internal customers who make the organization's function, who must be an integral part of any of the strategies formed and executed to ensure total operational alignment and ultimately customer satisfaction.
Thank you. We have another participant from Tecnológico de Estudios Superiores de Ecatepec, Estado de Mexico. This is the question. You mentioned that the pharmaceutical and the biotech industry is a leading example of an industry where companies and their key scientists collaborate and share resources to operate in the global marketplace. Why hasn't this occurred in industries such as renewable energy or education?
Another excellent question, and of course one that I cannot answer with any degree of certitude. However, I would hazard an opinion that I believe would be a central factor in the pharmaceuticals drive for expanded collaboration amongst its constituents. Money. First and foremost, as vulgar as this may sound, perhaps the greatest motivation leading the farms to cooperate and probably associate not only with the large amounts of money required to fund and launch new discoveries, which then returns enormous margins, but also it has to do with leveraging a symbiotic multiplier that can only be unleashed via cooperation. In the field of energy, although there is a large potential profits available, the technologies to compete for the existing well-established market share of the fossil fuel-dominated industry creates enormous barriers to entry. In the farms, it is research into the new discovery of new biological models that fuel this sector. This is the pattern that is already established. And of course, education, although the foundation of all human endeavors and success, is an intangible that only begins to deliver a return on investment once the educated individual is employed. Then the marketplace pays large dividends to the companies who employ educated individuals, and in turn, educated individuals make larger incomes, but only after they're educated.
Thank you for your response. Our next participant is from Manak Engineering Services, New Delhi, India. Welcome to today's program. And the question is, I consider your definition of entropy in the context of information theory as a measure of the unpredictability of information content most important and relevant for developing and emerging economies given that often they are the recipients of old models, out-of-date products and tools discarded by developed nations. What can they do to minimize the entropy of their information and pursue the development of knowledge-based industries?
This question goes to the heart of why information technology is an essential foundational factor for economic success in this era. In the previous dominant models of evolutionary economic incrementalism based on lesser developed countries, recycling recently discarded methods of technologies, philosophies, procedures, and processes in the information age, access to all data is real time. Therefore, dynamic data, considered critical to a firm's competitive advantage, can be continuously refreshed and updated to provide a great deal of confidence on the policies and decisions being made by the organization's leadership to assure that they are indeed playing on a level field. The currency of critical information thus maintained assures any evolving economy of an opportunity to not only compete but to lead the way in many scientific and commercial enterprises, regardless of location.
Very good. Thank you again. And our next participant is from Universidad Nacional Autónoma de Mexico, UNAM, Cuautitlán, Estado de Mexico, Mexico. This question is, can ETK audit and gap analysis to identify the organization's ETK quotient and provide a blueprint for synchronization be implemented in institutions of higher education?
Yes, of course. And again, an excellent question. The term organization, in and of itself, connotes people organized to achieve a pre-established set of objectives and goals based on a mandated mission which evolves out of the group's purpose. Therefore, any organization from any segment of society will benefit by applying these time-tested tenets. Permit me to refer you to Dr. Jorge A. Cardenas's dissertation at Alliant University of September 2009, where he correlated the strengths of E, T, and K with faculty satisfaction as a measure of performance in academic departments of institutions of higher education in Latin America and found positive statistical significance. Dr. Jorge Cardenas is currently Associate Dean of the College of Business and Professional Studies at Ashford University here in San Diego. This research its scientific-based conclusions are in total alignment with the large amounts of anecdotal feedback that provides a strong evidentiary base of support for the use of the ETK model in the educational sector.
Thank you again. Our next participant is from Tianjin College of Commerce, TCC, in Tianjin, China. Thank you also for participating in this program. And the question is, how can we deal with the challenges of cultural barriers in implementing multinational synergistic networking, where the value of the interacting elements becomes greater than the sum of the individual contributions?
Your question is at the center of a globally shared concern regarding the cultural components involved in working in large groups of work teams dispersed around the globe. It has been my experience that in the realm of collaborative work involving people with many different ethnical, cultural, and national backgrounds, the similarities of the educated colleagues are much more homogeneous than the individual cultural components that are the foundational elements of the team's members. Networked value chains and value webs not only provide large group access of unlimited numbers, but they also provide entry points for people as individuals to contribute their very independent and individually unique input.